Here with the reaction, former Kentucky Attorney General and CEO of 1792 Exchange, Daniel Cameron, along with Maslansky and Partners President Lee Carter. Great to see you both. So I have to ask you, Lee, when you look at all of this and you look at this constant segregation of voters by Democrats, it's kind of uncomfortable, isn't it?
Kind of. It's absolutely uncomfortable. I actually got an invitation over email to the white girls call, and I thought, I can't believe this is actually happening.
Like, I'm not
first
Karen.
of all, exactly. I'm not. But when was it okay? When's the last time we were able to say, okay, white gals, let's all get together? It's absolutely crazy. And now we've got white dudes for Kamala getting together. They're saying that there's over 75,000 men registered to do that. And they're saying this is a huge deal. I can't believe that this is actually happening, because imagine the outrage if Donald Trump did the same thing.
Right. Absolutely. Daniel, Kamala for segregation. That's exactly what this is. And it's anti-integration. But how does this, because this is their world, and all of the people who would be on these calls and be part of these rallying cries think this is normal, but it's not. So how do you make sure that this nonsense resonates with all voters who would find it as troubling as we do?
Well, Dagen, look, the first thing is to the Democratic Party, the 1950s call, and it wants its racial segregation back. I mean, this is completely absurd. This is ridiculous. The Democratic Party talks unity out of one side of their mouth, but openly displays division out of the other side of their mouth. And it's important and incumbent upon myself and Lee and you all to make sure that people recognize that the Democratic Party in many ways is the 21st century version of the segregation party. That is ultimately what they have become by trying to distinguish people based on race and gender. That's all they care about. They don't care about, look, as you note, I'm the CEO of 1792 Exchange, and I say often that we don't need businesses built on diversity, equity, inclusion. We need businesses built on merit, excellence, and intelligence. That's what we should be focusing on, rather than what they have been trying to do in dividing our country and dividing us by race and gender.
And, Daniel, not to be too specific about it, but of course the party of segregation was also the Democrat Party back then.
Yeah. Excellent point.
That's precisely right. And look, and I say it all the time, what we have seen from Kamala Harris or Joe Biden is the fact that they don't care about unity. What they care about is trying to slice up the electorate to hopefully try to win some votes come November, but it's going to backfire on them. That's why Donald Trump and J.D. Vance are going to be the next president and vice president of this United States.
Literally, that was a white woman with a vocal fry telling other white people how to talk to black people. It was completely insane, but that's the Harris campaign. Moving on to this. Real quickly, I'm going to throw this to you, too. It seems like white dudes are going to play a big role, not only in Harris's campaign, but also in her administration, if elected. Her VP shortlist overwhelmingly dominated by white men. And according to one CNN anchor, white and male seems to be fine as long as he is not too Jewish.
Pennsylvania's Governor Josh Shapiro is being discussed as one of Harris's potential running mates. He also endorsed her tonight. In your view, what are the pros and cons for putting him on the ticket?
Well, he's certainly under consideration. I know that from key Harris allies. He's a first-term governor. He's Jewish. There could be some risks in putting him on the ticket.
Record scratch, Lee.
The party of anti-Semitism knows no bounds. I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable that that would even come out of anybody's mouth. But sadly, it's not just coming out on CNN. There's a lot of people out there who are saying this kind of thing, and it's just absolutely atrocious. The the governor of Pennsylvania, Shapiro, is absolutely an extraordinary orator. He is an unbelievable leader, and he is someone that the Republicans should actually really be afraid of. He is very, very, very good, and he would be an excellent candidate for vice president if you're a Democrat. The fact that he is Jewish should have nothing to do with anything. He is unbelievably talented and gifted, and I think would be somebody that would be a great addition to the ticket.
Daniel, it's kind of
For them.
amazing the way the press just kind of whitewashes what John King said right there. There's clearly, as Lee said, this anti-Semitism, but the media tries to like burnish it up like it's a legitimate point.
Charlie, you talk about weird. The Democratic Party has become weird in the last several years. And it's a shame because, as Lee noted, this is the epitome of anti-Semitism. And it's disappointing to see from the left. But at this point, we should not be surprised by it because this is the game plan. This is the playbook that they're going to use all the way until November. That's ultimately why they're going to lose.
Daniel Cameron and Lee Carter, great to see both of you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.